NATO officials have now warned that Russia has begun its largest surface deployment since the end of the Cold War. The Kremlin sending its northern fleet, part of its Baltic fleet, to Syria in an effort to reinforce what is believed to be their final assault on the city of Aleppo. Some say the strike on the city may also serve to highlight inaction by the United States in the run-up to the election. Joining me now, former Pentagon official, Fox News national security analyst, KT McFarland, also a member of Donald Trump's National Security Advisory Committee. Let's start with those 10 ships transiting the English Channel on their way to Syria. No response, not a word from this president. NATO is basically just sort of waving at it as it goes by. The British have put out a few ships to escort them through the channel. Why isn't anyone paying attention to what is happening here in this administration?
You know, they've ceded the Middle East to the Iranians. They've ceded the Middle East to the Russians. And
well, what the hell's next? Europe?
Well, I think that's not an inconceivable thought. The Russians are being very aggressive. Why? Because they know they can get away with it. In part, it's to humiliate the United States. It's also part to say we're going to grab what we can because we know we have a weak lame duck president. There'll be no resistance to what we're going to do. So we're being aggressive in Ukraine. We're being aggressive in the Baltic. We're being now aggressive in the Middle East. And as far as the United States, we're not shaping events at all in the Middle East. So when Secretary Kerry talks about a ceasefire, or when President Obama comes out and says all the great things we're doing now are the assault against Mosul, we're not even there. I mean, we have American troops there.
The assault against Mosul, some say, is nothing more than a stratagem designed for the U.S. prepresidential race campaign. I mean, I would hope not.
I would hope not, to wag the dog.
That is cynicism at its highest. But at the same time, given all of the experience of the American people and the history of this president, nothing I don't think, personally, can be ruled out.
Well, what the battle for Mosul will end up doing is to leave Iran in charge of the entire region with an assist from Russia. And as far as the ISIS territory, they're going to carve that up.
I want to ask you, because Chris Wallace, who I thought did a terrific job.
I thought he did an amazingly good job.
Asking about, well, was sort of doing one of his fact-checking moments. He said, you know, talking about Aleppo having been a misstatement. I mean, you know, Trump said it had fallen. Look at Aleppo.
Look at it. Yeah, there won't be two.
If this isn't fallen, what in the heck will it look like when it does?
Yeah, and when Russia finishes with Aleppo, Russia will raise it the same way they raised Grozny during the Chechen wars. There will not be two stones left on top of each other, two bricks left on top of each other. Aleppo will be really leveled. And Mosul may well be leveled when that happens. And that will create a whole other flood of refugees, in part.
Meanwhile, Secretary Clinton taking no ownership of the millions of refugees that are a result of the famous red line strategy and policies of the Obama administration when she was Secretary of State, and then following that. This is a presidential candidate who has ownership of so many failed foreign policies.
Of all the failed foreign policies.
It's staggering. Yet she stands there and straightforwardly gets away with it.
You know, that's what's stunning to me is the record that she's had, whether it's the Libyan war, which was a disaster, whether it was a decision about Iraq to go in and then to get out, leaving now the entire Middle East and North Africa are in jihadi chaos. And if they ever get their hands on weapons of mass destruction, game over. The reset with Russia, or Russia's pushing us around. The reset with China, they're doing the same thing.
Is it going to take an international crisis?
Well, my guess is it will take an international crisis to have anybody pay attention to it. Because the United States is now in retreat everywhere in the world. And I'm not talking about leading from the front by invading places. I'm talking about leading from the front by using economic pressure and warfare and other forms of ideological pressure, none of which we're willing to use.
I'm going to conclude this conversation, KT, by pointing out that President Obama, in one poll, has a double-digit advantage in his approval rating. And that, in and of itself, is quite extraordinary. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.